Hello, and welcome to the latest edition of our Superintendent Update, our opportunity to talk with Superintendent Eric Conti about what's going on with Burlington Public Schools, and there's quite a bit going on, so we'll just jump right into it. Eric, thanks once again for joining me.
My pleasure. This is going to be the two-hour show.
It
the
could
two-hour
be.
version.
We'll try to keep it a little bit shorter
All right.
because I don't think anyone out there wants to see the two of us for that long. But
The cure for insomnia, right there.
exactly. So I guess the first thing to jump into, we're here in the high school. It's a little empty right now. Just talk about the decision to gonna take the high school fully remote for the last week.
Yeah, there wasn't one particular factor. So I think some of the numbers were we had 25 positive cases at the high school from the fall when we opened September 10th up until last week. And then last week we had 11 cases in that week by itself. We started to see the number of close contacts expanding. I think we had about 130 close contacts district-wide, the majority of those, again, at the high school. We had some concerns. We weren't necessarily seeing school spread, but we were seeing larger numbers of positive cases, almost half of what we had all year coming into the school, potentially from the outside. So we felt it was great to, again, nothing's great, but just we thought it was good to take a break for 5 days with the vacation on the other side. That would give us a 10-day window. That was one aspect of the decision. We also were getting to the end of the Fall 2 season, which ends next week, and then the spring season starts on Monday, April 26th. So we were concerned that without the week break, and if we had continued increases in positivity, that we would have to cancel the end of the season. And I think those athletes, those seniors, have lost enough.
Yeah.
So we're hoping by closing, we would give them a chance to finish out and play for any championships that they were qualified to play for. Also, most importantly, felt like this would give us 2 extra weeks to get all of our staff fully vaccinated. So if we were seeing more positive cases come in and our teachers had gotten their first dose or still hadn't had the 2-week window to become fully vaccinated, that this would allow that to occur. So it was really for the protection of the students and to try to save some of their senior activities and for the protection of the staff we had moving forward. I'm not sure that, again, there's no right decision. I think we were just looking at things the best we could. It's my decision. And so if it impacted people negatively, I'll apologize, but I just think we were trying to do what was best for everyone. We did work with the Board of Health. Again, they've always been very helpful. It's not their decision, but they certainly help guide us in terms of providing us the numbers and say, boy, this looks like it's going to be increasing. The community cases are increasing. And again, so Susan Luminello is a great resource, but I just want to be clear, it is a school district decision. It's my decision, and again, I hope that the intentions will be met through the closure. I know that it's frustrating for a lot of people.
Right. I mean, yeah, difficult, but and we are sort of all racing against getting this vaccine, so there's no reason to take unnecessary risks, right? As we're getting closer to the finish line. Now, in kind of the opposite, we have some schools. The elementary schools have gone fully 5 days a week in person, full day. The middle schools is planning on going that way right after the vacation. So talk about just how it's been going at the elementary schools and sort of what the planning is for middle school and then eventually high school.
I speak with some parents regularly, and the parents of elementary students after the first week said that the kids were smiling like they haven't smiled in a long time. So I think that's always good feedback. Smiles are the best feedback. I think one parent commented that because her elementary children didn't have an afternoon remote activity, that when they got home from school, they put their iPads away and they went outside and played, and she was very happy. She was very happy about that. And I think things have been going well, but I think that's a tribute. The reason it happened seamlessly is not by accident or by chance. I think our principals and teachers have done a tremendous amount of work to get ready. I think the 5-day-a-week foundation from which we were starting really helped. So we're really just extending the day, and the majority of the extension is for lunch and recess. I think there's an afternoon lesson or an activity, but a big chunk of that time is to lunch and recess and have the kids playing with one another, which is really important. So again, I think that at the elementary school, I'd say it's because of the efforts of our teachers and staff and administrators that it's been a success.
Yeah. And then looking ahead towards the middle school, I know you discussed at the school committee meeting on Tuesday that like homerooms assignments have been going out, and so that process is gearing up as far as getting ready to have that school also go full time.
It's Rich, what I've been trying to say, it's like the start of a school year again. So the administrative team is Carrie, Ms. Purchase, and her team are recreating schedules, homeroom lists, and putting together a 5-day-a-week in-person experience for students while school's in session, and that's going to happen on Monday, April 26th. So like any start of the school year, I'm sure there's going to be some adjusting and some bumps, but I think the middle school's ready. So people will be there, and they'll be teaching, and they're pros. So again, I never worry about when the kids are in front of the teachers. The structured time is usually a very positive experience. It's just some of the unstructured time that's a bit of a challenge because it's new. So, how do we maintain 6 feet at lunch? Because the cafeteria space isn't enough to hold an entire grade at a time. So who's in there? Who's in class? And because we have to pull different kids out of the classroom to eat because we can't keep 6 feet in the classrooms with the kids. So do we put a rotating schedule together for the kids who have to leave the classroom? And so all of that stuff just has to get worked out, and we try to work it out in as fair a way as we can. And then we're ready to go. But the elementary and the middle schools were mandated by the state to return to full day, 5-day-a-week instruction. So we'll be meeting that mandate on Monday, April 26th at the middle school.
Right. Yes, and just so people at home understand the situation, like the schools, like the classrooms can be set up for 3 feet of distance if everyone's wearing a mask, but during activities like lunch where you can't eat a mask, it's got to be back to 6 feet. So that obviously adds a little complication to, just sort of.
And the close contact, the contact tracing is still at 6 feet. So if we have students closer and the contact tracing is still at 6 feet, then we're going to be identifying more students, close contacts. So until the Mass Department of Health changes their definition of close contact, then we're going to be sort of bumping into that reality. And the bus routes, again, should have been posted. So again, we had to make changes at the middle school and high school because we're combining cohorts. We couldn't just keep the routes for Monday and Tuesday and Thursday and Friday in place because we're putting all the students together and transporting them 5 days a week. So the bus route should be out, but as every parent knows, that it usually takes us a couple weeks at the start of the school year to iron out all the routes. So again, we're doing that now, so it'll take us a couple weeks to iron that out. We're not making changes at the elementary level on buses. I said we would consider it, and there's just, we're in a rhythm at the elementary schools. I think that I'm concerned about the assigned seating on the buses because the state has eliminated all distancing guidance on the school buses. And if we have any positive cases on a school bus, I'm worried we would have to quarantine the entire school bus. And the whole point of the full return is for those families who want their kids in school is to have them in school as much as possible. So I felt like expanding bus capacity at the elementary level would be a threat to having more students, the students who want to be, the families who want their kids in school, to have them in school. So,
Right.
so there's no expansion of the elementary bus capacity, but we have to expand at the middle school and high school because we're combining cohorts.
Right. Yeah, I mean, just because the state says you can have 3 students to a seat, it doesn't change the contact tracing, like the 6 feet. So I mean, like you said, I think at the school committee meeting, like, that becomes almost an impossible situation.
Right. And then the high school was slated to open 5 days a week, full day, on April 26th with the middle school. And because of the remote this week and vacation, we wanted to have 5 days of return to hybrid before we did a full 5-day return. So we're pushing the high school 5-day return to May 3rd, Monday, May 3rd. And the benefit of that is also that many of our seniors will be doing internships starting May 3rd. So we'll have fewer students in the building, and that allows for more distancing. The downside of that, as Sarah Shake, our student rep, said, is she hasn't been to school with some of her, the opposite cohort friends all year, and she was looking forward to a week when they would all be in school together. So we're denying students that opportunity.
Right. And as far as other senior activities, are those plans, are any plans set yet? I mean, I know the state has came out, I think last week, recommending not to have prom, but I haven't heard anything about graduation yet.
They have guidance out. I think Mr. Sullivan and his staff and the teachers and the students are all, I know they saw a survey today, they're answering surveys about senior activities, and I'm sure he'll allow and try to facilitate as many activities as we can safely do that meet the guidelines.
Yeah, of course. And then, all right, so let's get away from COVID for a little bit, thankfully. We can do that every once in a while. Big news in the district, a new position was approved and has now been filled. We have Mr. Raymond Porch coming in as the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Just for people at home, I just spoke with him before you and I got on, so I'll have a piece out shortly. But just talk a little bit about him, the decision, and the role.
Him, decision, and the role. Well, Mr. Porch seems like he's exceptionally talented. I think he'll be a real asset to the district, and he'll help all of us improve. This isn't only work that he has to do. In fact, probably it's work that we all have to do, and he's going to help us do the work. So it's I don't want people to think we've created this position and brought him in and then all of our problems go away. I mean, I think all of our challenges go away. That's just not the case. So we all have work to do. I think that the position itself, I think I'd mentioned to you before, was sort of a humbling experience because I couldn't get it done, and that's usually what my role is to try to bring resources into the district. And it was really a group of teachers, students, and parents that made this happen. And so I certainly acknowledge that, welcome the position, but also feel like the reason it didn't get it done sooner is I couldn't fit it in the budget, so I couldn't get it done. And so some might say then it wasn't a priority for me, and again, all those conversations. But I'm happy the position is here now. I'm happy the groups that advocated made it a priority, and again, I couldn't be happier with the selection process and the result of the selection process.
Yeah. It seems like a very accomplished and intelligent and talented guy. I'm looking forward to having him in for a longer conversation on what I'll be able to do with this, initial piece that we have coming out.
He's great.
So it's very exciting. Last thing, and again, good news. After years of the state sort of not looking very fondly upon the high school request for a new HVAC system, the Fox Hill project has gotten moved up one step.
Right. So the Mass School Building Authority, which is a committee that works underneath the state treasurer, approved moving the Fox Hill project, our statement of interest, into feasibility, which is the first major step in getting a new school designed and done. And they have a very scripted 7-year process that we will be initiating June 1st, I think is when they kick off our project. So I think the first thing I would convey is that's great news. Fox Hill was built in 1960, and you never want the building to be the limiting factor for learning, because we have such talented teachers. They can make even old buildings effective, but at some point the building becomes the limiting factor, and we just want to have our facilities match and complement the talents that we have in the classroom. And Fox Hill was sort of at that point where we need the facility to stop being the limiting factor. So, and plus we're seeing our enrollment, bump up, and the design is relatively inflexible, and so I think that was very good news. There'll be lots of opportunity through the feasibility process. Building a school typically takes 2 years from the time you see a bulldozer. So why does it take 7 years? There's a lot of work that has to happen ahead of time in terms of community input, design, programmatic definition. Do we keep 4 elementaries? Do we move to 3 elementary schools? Sort of all of those decisions have to take place in the next, in the first part of the process, the first couple years. And there'll be opportunities for people to be involved in that process as we go. So again, I think it's a good first step. We will now move forward back again with the high school as our first priority in terms of applying to the state as our priority in our statement of interest. The work here still needs to get done. And it's more than just an HVAC system, it's also renovations. We need new science labs, we need other aspects of this building renovated or redesigned, and so that's our next priority. But we're going to have to talk about Pine Glen in the mix too. So again, there's lots to do, and again, if I had to pick one thing, talented teachers are building. Talented teachers is the easy decision, is the biggest priority. But it's nice to provide them a workspace that matches their talents.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, I think we've gone through quite enough for this month. Quite a lot happening. It'd be interesting to see how everything kind of plays out in the next few weeks and months. So.
Right. So again, just if I could leave any with the precaution, Rich, is that we're getting more and more folks vaccinated. I think that's great, but there's still a pandemic. We still want people to practice precautions. And the lower the community rates, the lower the rates we have in school, the more time kids can spend in person. So it's really a partnership between the precautions we take when the kids are in school and then the precautions families take when they're out of school. And I just want to, again, we're only as I guess as safe as the people who practice the least amount of caution. So if you could please continue to practice caution. I know it's a long time. We're very close to what I hope would be a return to a more normal, more typical schedule and school environment. So so that's it. So thank you for asking the questions.
Yeah, thank you for being in here. And I echo what you say. There's no reason to stumble when we're close to the finish line. So keep the masks on, keep travel limited, and do all the things that we've become so accustomed to for this last year. Well, once again, thank you for coming in, and we'll catch up again in about a month.
Perfect. Thanks, Rich.
All right, thank you.